Welcome to Creepy Joe's Horror Show! With special guest, Slip Rick the Skeleton.
It's not my fault the babes like me, man.
Also, Flo!
Perverts.
And don't forget about your legendary loser host himself, Creepy Joe!
Welcome to Creepy Joe's Horror Show. Tonight we have Trick or Treats from 1982.
An escaped madman comes home at a time when his son is playing sick jokes on the babysitter.
Trick or Treats, 1982. Directed by Gary Graver. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. But I'm pretty sure, I didn't go too deep into this, but I'm pretty sure he has like his whole family, you know, in this movie. Well, the kid, like the main kid character, Chris Graver, plays Chris. His name's Chris in the movie. I don't know if that's his son or not, but that's a really weird coincidence if not. But then you have Jacqueline. Jacqueline Giro. I'm gonna put it up here just so you can read it because I have no idea how to pronounce that. But then you have but she's played by she plays Linda, and she's the babysitter.
Why do I get them all?
Because I love you, Linda.
She's babysitting Chris. And then you have David Carradine playing Richard. And I should know, he's like a known actor, but I don't know how to pronounce his name either. And oh well. And then you have Peter Jason playing Malcolm, and that's the dad. And we'll get into him, but you have Steve Railsback playing Brett. I don't know if I pronounced that right either, man. And then we have Carrie Snodgrass. Snodgress. Snodgrass. So these weird ass names, man, like I don't know if it's just actors in general, like did they change them to the weirdest freaking names that they can possibly come up with? I don't know. But anyway, she plays the wife of Malcolm, Mrs. Adams. So anyway, let's just dive right into this because I don't really want to spend too much time on this movie. It was not one of my favorites, and maybe it's because it was kind of bizarre and it lost me a couple times. I don't know. The basis of the movie is that Linda is a babysitter. Okay, well, we have to go further back than that. My apologies. So this is how much the movie didn't stand out to me. But anyway, the beginning, the husband and wife, you know, Malcolm and I can't even remember her name. I'm sorry, but his wife, played by Carrie Snodgrass, Mrs. Adams. I forget her first name, but anyway, June or Judy. She has him committed at the beginning. Against his will, and he's committed for 5 years. He spends 5 years in a mental institution.
How are you doing, Malcolm?
Fine. When am I going to get out of here, doctor?
Oh, any day now, any day.
And so on Halloween, he breaks out, dresses up as a woman nurse. It's like a whole process, and it's, you know, it's good. This movie's not like a horrible movie. Don't get me wrong. So, you know, it's pretty well put together, and he breaks out of the mental asylum. Comes back. There's some comedic aspects to this movie as well. It has funny moments. And in the meantime, his wife and her new boyfriend, Richard, are out on a date. So there's a babysitter there with his son, him and his wife's son. And his son's like a aspiring magician. And it's just torturing the shit out of Linda the entire time. I mean, playing like these horrible pranks on her. He even pretends he drowns at one point. And like, if I were her, like there's no way in real life that anyone would have put up with what went on. It was like above and beyond, to the point where he was pretending to have his throat slit and everything. And actually, there's a part in that movie where you think that the dad did it because he sneaks back into the house, but it was him playing tricks. So anyway, the dad ends up coming back. She keeps getting all these prank calls from these guys saying they're going to come there, and her night's just pretty much horrible. And she keeps talking to her boyfriend Brett, who's like playing. He's like a struggling actor playing a free play or something at the time.
Well, they all got in free, didn't they?
Yeah, they got him free.
And he pokes in on the phone every once in a while, but like other than that, his character is useless. And basically, it ends up that the dad does come back to the house, and he thinks that she's his wife. He only sees the back of her.
It's time for you to suffer. I loved you, Joan.
So he's trying to murder her for real. So then she thinks like, well, some of these pranks weren't Chris. They must have been real, and whatever. You're kind of confused. So, because at this time you think that Chris got his throat slit by his dad, which that was all a trick, but you don't know that yet at this time. So she's running from him, and he ends up at the end putting his head in the magician. You know, it's a guillotine, and he puts his head in this guillotine that the kid has in his room. And Chris pulls the string and kills his own dad, I guess. And then after that, it shows her sitting on the couch crying on the phone, and Chris, the kid, sneaks up behind her with a knife and murders her.
I'm dead.
So I don't know. It was a bizarre ending. It didn't really make much sense. You know, some of the things were frustrating. Like, you know, Malcolm runs around the house trying to kill her, and all this crazy shit's going on. And it's like, why not just like, you know, I just feel like it would have never worked out that way in real life. And most of these horror movies are far-fetched and ridiculous. But this one just kind of didn't even make sense in a lot of times. And I kind of felt like I just didn't like it. And meanwhile, during all this shit, there's people, it's trick-or-treat night, so kids are at the door like every 2 minutes, banging on the door. There's drunk people. A whole assortment of trick-or-treaters come to the door.
Why are the lights on if nobody's home?
And it is like, you know, I don't want to butcher this movie. It wasn't horrible. I just would never watch it again. And I'm going to rate it a 2 out of 5. It's the first 2, I think. Because I just don't like it. The quality was alright and everything. And, you know, it wasn't a bad story or anything like that. It was actually pretty interesting. But I just don't like it. And it's just my opinion, you know. But I think you should check it out because it's worth seeing. So check it out, but I'm never going to lie to you. If I don't like a movie, I'm just going to be real about it. But I don't want that to deter people from watching it or, you know, base their opinion off of my bullshit, because I don't even know what I'm talking about, man. I watched this one time and I kind of breezed through it, and I just wasn't feeling it, man. It didn't keep my attention. It was hard to like stay focused on it, and that's when I know a movie kind of sucks. But all these movies like this one that I'm doing in this month of October are free on Tubi, and I did that on purpose to watch movies that I haven't seen before, because there's a lot out there. I mean, there were so many horror movies made in the 80s that when you're a kid you think you saw them all because you saw all the ones that were in your video store. But I mean, holy shit, there's hundreds of them that I haven't seen. So this was just a good excuse to do this project and be able to focus on movies I haven't seen. And I do cover some that I have, so I get it. A few of them, I admit, I've seen a million times, but I felt that they were necessary enough to bring up and show people, hey, this is free on Tubi, and it's like a really good movie, you know. But as for the rest of them, you know, I'm trying to watch some of the more underground, you know. It gets to a point, okay, like, there's so many different subcategories of horror that it's ridiculous. I try to focus on, like, some of the cheesier 80s horror movies that have some comedic aspect to them, and that's what I rate all these movies off of, my personal taste. I mean, it could be a really good movie with a $80 million budget, $800 million budget, whatever you want it. And I might not like it just because it didn't meet my standards, but my standards aren't necessarily important or good. You know, I like some cheesy, weird shit that's, you know, like stupid shit that you guys would, a lot of you out there would probably think is ridiculous and would never want to see. Because you just think it was dumb. Like, you'd be like, oh, I can't even believe this would entertain somebody. But it is what it is. And this movie just didn't, I wasn't feeling it, but stay tuned. We only have like 10 days left or something like that. I almost lose count every single night, but we're getting up there. And I'm trying to find a really good one to save for Halloween, but I haven't figured it out yet. So if you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments. And I guess thanks for hanging out this long. If you made it this long, I appreciate you. And stay creepy.
Hey, take it easy.
Shut up. Take your clothes off.
What are you getting?
Shut up.